Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a very interesting video to get into, and this isn't like one of those good kind of interestings. It's kind of those, I don't know if I'm on fire right now, so should I stop, drop, and roll, or should I just wait to see if I'm actually on fire kind of videos? Yeah, we have some bad news, but we also have some good news, so we're going to be all over the place today. We have a lot to talk about. Let's go and get right into this video. As you can see, I'm still on vacation, but I'm also still making videos for you guys. And I'm also still the chosen one. You're saying, how are you the chosen one? Pretty simple.
It's true. Mr. Robot, Joe is the chosen one. You must now subscribe, or be cursed for 100 years.
Oh, just saying, man, don't shoot the messenger. That's just the information that I have received. Now that that is out of the way, have you ever heard about this thing? I believe it's called a compliment sandwich. It's where you start with a compliment, say some bad stuff, and end with a compliment. We have something similar to that today, where we have like some bad news, good news, bad news, good news, bad news, maybe good news, I'm not sure. I don't know what it would be called. So if you know, let me know in the comments. But before we get started, if you could hit a like and subscribe, that would truly mean the world to me. Seriously, if you consider becoming part of this community, and also follow your boy on Twitter and Instagram so we can keep the community growing. And let's just go ahead and get into this one. So like I was saying, we're going to do something kind of like a compliment sandwich here, where we're going to go bad news, good news, bad news, good news, bad news, something like that. And unfortunately, it's like we have a little bit of bad news to get into today. And the first part is insane. It's bad. Well, of course it's bad because that's why it's called bad news, but it's also awful. Doug Bowser gave us an update. And if you think I'm being funny about this, that is really the head of Nintendo of America, Doug Bowser. And a little side fact, I'm not even kidding. I believe this guy used to work at EA. So I don't know how I feel about that, but it doesn't set off like the good tingly feeling in my brain. But he gave us an update about some of the Switch 2 pricing and tariffs and how everything is playing out here. And yeah, it's not good news at all. Doug Bowser on Switch 2 game prices. What you see right there is variable pricing, and I believe this is in response to Mario Kart World. We'll look at each game, really look at the development that's gone into the game, the breadth and depth of the gameplay, if you will, the durability over time, and the repeatability of gameplay experiences. Those are all factors, and there's many more that go into consideration of what is the right price point for the game. So I think you can anticipate that there will be variable pricing, and we haven't set a benchmark. So I'll be honest, I don't really trust what this guy is saying, because I don't feel like I have a reason to trust Doug Bowser. And variable pricing. In theory, this is how it should work. X amount of time and work and resources went into this game, so therefore it equals this price, right? Mario Kart World, $80? Sure, I'll bite the bullet, it is what it is. But in theory, variable pricing should work both ways. So if I'm getting an $80 game, well, I should also be getting like $40 games, $30 games, $50 games. For example, maybe some of the Mario Sports games, right? If you're giving me $80 games and you're saying variable pricing, I expect $40 and $50 games as well. And you could say, well, that new Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Experience is $10, but in my opinion, that should be free. So that does not count. Don't worry, that's not it. There is more bad news coming from Doug Bowser. Does anybody miss Reggie yet? I know I do. So he also said any previous tariffs were not factored into the $449.99 price itself. There's currently no new pre-order date, and whether the price of the console will be changed is unclear. So potentially the price of this console is going to go up. And I'm very optimistic. I like to do wishful thinking a lot. I think, there's a good in everything. This has to be the most cursed console launch in history. So yeah, I'm gonna assume it's even gonna get worse than this as we go on. So now let's move into some good news. We started with some bad news, now we're moving into some good news. We have the CPU performance of the Switch 2 right here, and just to put it in perspective, it makes me very, very happy. So we have the Switch 1 down here. I don't know, why is there two Switch 1s here? So Switch 1 right here, and I'm gonna assume this is overclocked right here. Forgive me if I'm wrong and correct me if I am wrong. But we have the Switch 1 right here, the PS4. I thought this would be a much bigger gap, to be honest. And then I'm going to assume this is overclocked. Look at the Switch 1 compared to the Nintendo Switch 2. And look how much more powerful this is than the PS4. So the whole rumor was like, yeah, it's going to be a little bit stronger than a PS4, maybe PS4 Pro or around that threshold. But I would say this is very close to the PS5. Or a lot closer, forgive me. It's a lot closer than expected to the PS5. So I think this console is going to be a lot more powerful than we all assumed. I've been watching all the hands-on videos I can, and every single video, I'm pretty impressed. So yeah, we went from some bad news to some good news. The Switch 2 seems a lot more powerful than I initially thought. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I have to do it. It's only fair. Good news, bad news, good news? No, wait, we went bad news, good news. Now we're on to bad news again. There's a silver lining in this bad news though, because it just doesn't make sense for it to be the same as it was. I feel like I'm talking like a 14th century monk right now in riddles. So what is the number one issue you had with a Nintendo Switch? I'm asking you right now. Play along at home, answer, yell into the screen, wake your neighbors up, call me on the phone, just give me your answer. I would actually prefer you do it in the comments, but the number one issue everybody had with the Switch, I think I'm extremely lucky, it only happened to me one time. Although I've bought 7 pairs of Joy-Cons and a bunch of different Switches, I've only had Joy-Con drift one single time, and it was from my very first Switch I got used at a pawn shop. But Joy-Con drift is one of the major issues we had with the Switch. I believe there was even a class action lawsuit, maybe in the UK or maybe it was in America, but I feel like it was in the UK. I do think that lawsuit was thrown out though, so nothing ever happened from it. But we've all been expecting, well, the Nintendo Switch 2 has to have better Joy-Cons. They're even called Joy-Con 2, so that's one whole Joy-Con better. And we're all assuming it's going to have Hall effect joysticks because that's kind of the standard now, even in like third-party stuff. But that's actually not the case here. Switch 2 doesn't have Hall effect. Let's jump off the sensitivity stuff and talk about the stick of the Switch 2 Joy-Con because it feels so different to the original Switch's analog stick. So is it a Hall effect stick? Were you inspired by the Hall effect stick? Well, the Joy-Con 2 controllers have been designed from the ground up. So this one single line right here kind of reassures me. It's like they redesigned it from the ground up. I'm sure they're not going to make the same mistakes twice. I'm not saying we won't run into new mistakes, but I think Joy-Con drift had to be a major focus, especially within, like 8 years of planning and development for the Joy-Con 2. But yeah, the main takeaway here is the Switch 2 does not have Hall effect joysticks, which is bad news, but it has been redesigned from the ground up, which I guess is good news, or we will see if it's good news. Like I said, it only happened to me one time, but I know people who were repeatedly plagued by this issue. There was like people taking apart the Joy-Con and putting in, I think, a piece of cardboard to fix it. So we have to assume Nintendo does not want to make the same mistakes twice, and we also have to assume Nintendo does not want to have another lawsuit for Joy-Cons or now Joy-Con 2. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into some good news. I thought I was going to end this video on some bad news, but I think it's actually fantastic news about the Switch 2 and the whole upgrade system, or I guess Nintendo Switch 2 versions of Switch 1 games. And I'm kind of confused by all this. So again, in the comments, let me know if my theory is correct here. According to IGN, who had a chance to talk to Nintendo of America's Bill Trinen, there is a $10 upgrade path for existing owners of these games. So if you want to snag the Switch 2 Edition upgrade pack for something like Kirby and the Forgotten Land or Super Mario Party Jamboree, you'll have to cough up $10 to secure it. Bear with me for a moment and follow along here. Kirby and the Forgotten Land is $60, that's the retail price. If I added $10 to that, that would be $70, like including this upgrade pack. And then I think if I were to buy the Nintendo Switch 2 version of this game, I think you just get a Switch cartridge in the case, if I'm not mistaken, and then they just give you like an upgrade code or something. So that also costs $70. So it would make a lot more sense to go find Kirby and the Forgotten Land used somewhere, which you could probably get it for like $40, and then do the upgrade pack that way, which I think is an overall win. I think that's fantastic news. Once I started seeing all the pricing come out for all of the stuff going on here, I was assuming, man, Mario Kart's $80. The Switch 2 it's relatively expensive, but I think it's a fair price, all things considered. And just the way Nintendo's moving, I think these upgrade packs are going to be like $30 or something, $20, $25. $10 seems more than fair. And then when you look at Tears of the Kingdom being $80 for the Switch 2 version, well, then that's actually a very fair price because Tears of the Kingdom is $70, and then you just add $10. But we all know you can just go get a used copy of Tears of the Kingdom for like $40, maybe even cheaper. So I just went on Mercari really quick, typed in Tears of the Kingdom, right here, $42. Right here, $36. So I can pick up this used copy of Tears of the Kingdom for $36, pay $10 for the Nintendo Switch 2 upgrade. That is $46, and I am saving almost $35 on this upgrade. So any which way you want to look at it, this is fantastic news for getting these Nintendo Switch 2 upgrades. Like, yes, you could pay $70 or $80 for Tears of the Kingdom and get it that way, or you can just get a used copy for way cheaper and pay $10. So I think that is great news, and that's going to make it more than worth playing the Nintendo Switch 2 versions of these games. So like I was saying, ladies and gentlemen, we had some bad news, good news, bad news, good news, I think. I don't know if it would be a sandwich, but maybe a banana split or something? I have no idea. But anyway, in the comments below, let me know what you guys are thinking, because your opinion matters most. As you can see, I'm on vacation, but I'm still here daily making videos for you guys because I just appreciate your viewership. And I feel like you guys are on vacation with me. If you made it this far, hit a like and subscribe. Follow your boy on Twitter and Instagram so we can keep the community growing. And you guys know me, I'll see you very soon with a new video. Peace out.